idea is that instead of Barack Obama just being born in the U.S., that why don't we just have him born someplace else and we'll fake everything else with the idea of making him president? It makes no sense.
And if you're going to have a Manchurian candidate, wouldn't it be easier to not have this huge weak point, this huge Achilles heel, that you get him in office and he has this one thing that if they expose it, your whole plan, everything you've done for decades, all the money you've spent on this, just goes down the tubes.
Right.
And seriously, why pick a baby at that point in the first place anyways? I mean, it's like, oh, now comes the easy part. Now all the pieces in place. Now he just has to win the Electoral College.
Yes. And who would put their money on Barack Hussein Obama as a child?
Yeah, he was
John Patrick Rogers. That's where I put my money.
I'd put my money on somebody who is in some sort of like political dynasty of some kind, like a Bush or a Kennedy.
Yeah.
Someone who it makes complete sense that they would be raised from birth with the idea that they're going to go into public office someday.
Right. So for the most part, like we mentioned earlier, the birther thing has ebbed. It's actually, most people who are considered to be birthers are out of the mainstream, and thankfully it's gone by the wayside. In fact, we have an ad that was ran by John McCain recently. That paints his opponent as a birther, and hopefully we can put that up. Play that clip. Orly Tate.
Completely illegitimate for U.S. presidency for two reasons. Not only because he did not provide the place of his birth, but also because both parents have to be U.S. citizens.
Obama knows he is not natural born, as he knows where he was born, and he knows he was adopted in Indonesia.
Questions continue. And until President Obama signs his name, and in fact has the records revealed, the questions will remain.
The only difference between these people? Only one is running for the U.S. Senate.
Oh.
Now J.D. Hayworth he's not actually a birther. He's like birther curious in this one,
I'm just asking questions.
Questions are just being asked. That's all. I'm not at the forefront of this. I just know that questions are being asked.
I think Jon Stewart referred to that as like the Neil Cavuto question mark. You can make an outrageous statement as long as you put a question mark at the end, and then you're like, oh well, I'm not saying, I'm just asking the question. And I think the one they've used as the example is like, rather than calling somebody's mother a whore, you just say, your mother a whore? Just asking the question.
Are we wearing pants? Who knows? It's just a question.
Yeah, we're just putting it out there.
We're just putting it out there. So I really like the approach with that one. We're just going to ask questions about Obama's birth.
Yeah, there's a couple things about Orly Tates I find funny. Not only that she's I guess in D&D she'd be multi-class. She's both a dentist and a lawyer.
Yeah, and she's actually something else I don't remember. Go ahead.
The whole Zsa Zsa Gabor thing she has going on.
She's got it down pat.
Plus, I find really funny is that her first name is spelt in the same sort of internet lingo where you go, oh, really? Yes. So I think that pretty much says it. But, oh, man.
I think Orly Tates is a robot.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
That's just my own theory.
She was probably built by Zsa Zsa Gabor.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe, who knows?
Who knows?
So anyway, we have, I want to make a mention to Casey in the booth, is that we're going to be going to the
Ram in Northgate?
No, the Antichrist clip next, and I didn't put it on the script, so I just want to make sure he gets that queued up.
Yeah, apparently there's something much worse than you can be than a Kenyan, and I guess that is the Antichrist.
The Antichrist.
Well, I like to think of the Antichrist as Bizarro Jesus.
Why is that?
Well, rather than just being, it's sort of like Superman has Bizarro, who's basically the opposite of Superman. I like to think of this as the Bizarro Jesus, and he's basically like the evil version of him that wears slightly different colors. And maybe he wears a gold sash and a dagger, maybe has a scar on his face, but looks like Jesus otherwise. But there's at least some, visual cue that people can do to say, oh, that's the bad guy.
Well, you know what? I think that they should always do the Spock.
Spock goatee.
The Spock goatee. That's your cue to an evil version of something else.
But if Jesus has a goatee, does that mean the Antichrist is cleanly shaven?
Well, Jesus has a full beard. He doesn't have a goatee. So I think that'd be a perfect cue for the Antichrist.
Yeah, goatees are really good for bad guys. That's why General Zod and the Master from Doctor Who have goatees.
Yes. So anyway, as you probably guessed, our next conspiracy is Obama the Antichrist? Now,
Question mark.
Question mark. Now, just know that before Barack Obama became a presidential candidate, a lot of people thought Hillary was the Antichrist. And I've actually got some emails from folks who say that she's the great whore of Babylon, and it all lines up that she is the Antichrist. And before that, it was Bill Clinton when he was president. So really what's going on here, I think, is that most people who are conservative are religious. And when a non-conservative non-conservative candidate becomes president, he's therefore not of us. And anytime you have someone who's not of you, you can easily become suspicious of him.
His follower was actually doing that with Clinton back in the 90s, where he put out these tapes that he was giving to his followers. They were talking about the series of murders that Clinton had committed, apparently, on his path to the White House.
Right.
So it's nothing new.
Yeah. So anyway, when Bill Clinton didn't become anything other than a guy who got a blowjob, for the most part, folks, that theory just dissipates and it becomes something else.
Yeah, he's not the Antichrist anymore.
He is the Antichrist in some other way, and I actually don't get that. But what happens, and this is a very good thing to bring up, is what happens when a conspiracy theory falls through? You would think that all the people who purport that conspiracy theory would all dissipate and they'd all be disillusioned, but no, they find some sort of way to cognitive dissonance. They find some sort of out.
Yeah.
All right, well, we were vigilant. We were watching him every step of the way, and we prevented socialism from coming into our country. We prevented him from being an antichrist or a Manchurian candidate. It was because we were all watching him collectively. Yes. Thank you. Let's all cheer each other.
Beautiful and non-falsifiable.
Yes, yeah.
There's no way to lose.
Yeah.
You just throw something out, discern it, and then at the last minute you saved it from the brink of disaster.
Right. Mostly
by screaming stuff about him on the internet, which is always the most effective way of stopping somebody.
Yeah. So anyway, we have a clip for you, and this is a way of making Barack Obama and the Antichrist by way of Aramaic. Why don't we go ahead and roll that clip? It's a little bit long, but let's do it.
2 words to go in mind with this clip is Chewbacca.
Did Jesus really reveal the name of the Antichrist? I will report the facts. You can decide. In Luke chapter 10, verse 18, Jesus said these words, "And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from the heavens." These words are written in Greek and translated to English. However, Jesus spoke these words originally in Aramaic, which is the most ancient form of Hebrew. As you know, the Old Testament was written in Hebrew. If a modern Jewish rabbi were to speak these words of Jesus today, he would speak them in Hebrew, much the same way that Jesus would have spoken them. So in Hebrew, Jesus said that he saw Satan falling as lightning from the heights or from the heavens. So what are the words for lightning and heights or heavens in Hebrew? From the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary, word number 1299, a primitive root word meaning to lighten or lightning or to cast forth, the word is barak. In the Strong's Hebrew Dictionary, word number 1300, lightning, or by analogy a gleam, a flashing sword, or a brightness or a glittering, the Hebrew word is barak. So lightning, or a flash of light, in Hebrew is pronounced barak or barak. Now consider this amazing fact. The book of Isaiah is the source of origin for the Christian concept and understanding of Satan, or Lucifer, as Isaiah calls him, in chapter 14, especially in verses 12 through 19. In Isaiah chapter 14, verse 14, Lucifer, or Satan, is credited with these words, "I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High." In the verses of Isaiah that refer directly to Lucifer, several times it is mentioned that Satan has fallen from the heights, or from the heavens. The Hebrew word used in this text for the heights from which Satan fell is Strong's Hebrew word 1116, pronounced Bama. Bama is most commonly used to refer to a high sacred place, as well as to the heights of the heavens or the clouds. In Hebrew, the letter Wa is often transliterated as a U. Some scholars use the O for this transliteration. It is primarily used as a conjunction to join concepts together. So to join in Hebrew poetry the concept of lightning, or barak, and a high place like heaven or the heights of heaven, the letter U or sometimes O, the Hebrew letter Wah, would be used. So, Barak Obama, or